Perth.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Let's distill this motion in simple terms. Our spirits manufacturers are asking for a level playing field, a spirit level, if you like. For some, it is too risky to make the investment to grow under current conditions. But for others, it just rubs against the grain. They are treated different to others in the alcohol production industry. But they don't whine, they keep their gin up, they put their case to government through the gin-dependent member for Clark and his motion. As others have said, this is a very highly regulated and highly taxed industry. And it's an industry that does need our support, just as it has supported our community over the last 12 months, and I'll talk about that more in a moment. We need to keep an open mind in making sure that the necessary changes to ensure future growth in this industry and make sure that it remains competitive internationally. Because one of the great stories of this industry is that as we continue to produce here at home, as with many areas where we don't, this is one area where we are reducing our reliance on imported product. We talk about bringing back manufacturing to Australia. The distilling industry is manufacturing, and we should do what we can to support them. It's exactly what Australians want: quality jobs, value added, export ready. And we saw that when we needed them, these distillers were happy to step up to the plate, happy to do something to support their community. They were a very important part of our front line against the COVID pandemic. I look at Whippersnapper Distillery in East Perth in my electorate. A fabulous distillery. Alistair Murdoch and his team run an amazing operation that went practically overnight from making fabulous high-end products to turning fabulous West Australian wine into hand sanitizer. Within a week, they were pumping out 1,500 litres of hand sanitizer a week, filling key demand for industry, for the WA Health Department and others. And now, thankfully, they're back to their normal production and hoping to expand. It means they'll use more WA wheat. And I went down there last week and I said, oh look, I'm speaking on this motion, I'd love something that I can bring in. I said, can you just give me like one little grain of wheat? And as we know, this industry doesn't do things by halves, so they suggested I hold this up in Parliament, which I know I'm not allowed to do. So I said, look, that was very nice of you. You've done it anyway. It was very nice of you. But that is West Australian wheat used by a West Australian business to create an export-ready product. And it's not just exporting in terms of exporting our products overseas, it's also a huge tourism industry in my home state of Western Australia. We know, as we've heard from every other member who's spoken, about the tourism benefits of these industries, but I think look at businesses like Old Young's in the Swan Valley. I spoke to them at the height of the pandemic and the international border closures last year when they thought, what are we going to do? They're award-winning. They're a great tourism destination for people who visit the Swan Valley. Most people who visit the Swan Valley just want a nice glass of wine, but not everyone wants a glass of wine. And if you are in the Swan Valley and you want something slightly different, I suggest you pop by Old Young's. And of course, it would be easier for more people to do that if the Prime Minister's plane tickets that he weighs around also applied to trips to the great capital of Perth, which has unfortunately been forgotten by the tourism package that was announced the other week. I know my community supports these local distillers. I've been bombarded by emails, as many have, about, you don't get many emails about complex tax policy, but I have received quite a few about this one. So to Joel, Carla and everyone else who's been emailing me, I have received your emails and you're about to get an acknowledgement of that with this speech. The other thing for me in the electorate of Perth is that the Northbridge nighttime economy, those people who like to get out and about at night time, isn't it great to see them consuming? You look at the beer list, you look at the wine list, it's Australian. It's Australian products. And more we are seeing distilled Australian products in the cocktails and the spirits that people consume. And the more that we can do in this place to support that transformation is a good thing. Finally, I just want to acknowledge that the broader alcohol production industry has done it tough over the last year. I'll acknowledge the local breweries in my electorate who've done it tough. Particular shout out to Reece Whedon and Nowhere Man Brewing, and to the independent retailers who sell all of these products. And I'll finish by congratulating, which I haven't done in this place before, Commune Wine Store, who fought through ridiculous, oppressive regulations and finally got their store in Maylands open at the end of last year.